Hey guys, what's up? It's Trance. In today's video, I wanted to go through my NVIDIA control panel settings and show you what I believe is the best settings for FPS performance in Destiny 2. So I play on 1440p, which is 2560 by 1440 resolution, at 144 Hz rate. There are some people out there today with 240 Hz refresh rate, which is really good. I wish I could upgrade to that. But so in most cases, people get new monitors with really high refresh rate, but they haven't actually updated in their settings to go to the refresh rate that's possible. So they're still on 60 Hz and they forget to change it in the settings to 144 or even 240. So make sure you do that. 144 Hz, 1440p. I use default color settings. Okay, so this is where the most crucial settings will be. You want to go to Manage 3D Settings in your NVIDIA control panel. And this is where all the magic happens. Now I pretty much run with all the anti-aliasing settings off because the game Destiny 2 looks pretty smooth in general. So there's no real need to turn a lot of these settings on. So just turning everything off will make the game run a lot smoother just in general, so I would recommend turning a lot of this off. So let me start reading these out to you so you can see it better, or at least listen to it. So I got image scaling off, ambient occlusion off, anisotropic filtering off, anti-aliasing FXAA off, anti-aliasing gamma correction off, anti-aliasing mode off, anti-aliasing setting none, transparency off, background application max frame rate off, CUDA GPUs all, DSR factors off, DSR smoothness off, low latency mode. Now this is an important one to mention. I have this off. Now the way the game works, it runs off CPU and GPU, and why a lot of pros have this off is because it gives the least amount of input lag and the highest FPS. So this is why you'll find that a lot of people have this actually turned off. It doesn't benefit you by having it on. Max frame rate off. Multi-frame sampled AA, MFAA off. OpenGL GDI compatibility auto. OpenGL rendering GPU auto select. Power management mode, and this is an important one. You want to prefer maximum performance. So change this one to prefer maximum performance. Preferred refresh rate, application controlled to your monitor, basically. Shader cache size, I have at 10 GB. Now for texture filtering, you can change this to high performance or maximum performance preferred, and this will turn your texture filtering anisotropic sampling to on. So basically what this does, it will ensure you have the best FPS possible while making the game look as simple as possible. Simple in a lot of cases in FPS games is good. Better performance, visual simplicity is what you want to strive for. Texture filtering negative LOD bias allow. Texture filtering again, as mentioned before, high performance. Texture filtering trilinear optimization on. Threaded optimization auto. Triple buffering off. Vertical sync off. And then one auto. Now this is for the desktop color settings. Now this is something I just recently changed following advice from a PUBG professional, actually, Tiggleton. So I leave these all at default settings, and I change the settings on the monitor itself, which I can't exactly show to you, but I can explain the settings that I have in preference on my monitor settings. But his reasoning for this was because altering the color settings in the NVIDIA control panel may keyword alter performance. He doesn't know for sure, but he just wanted to be safe, and he put these settings onto the physical hardware itself, like the monitor settings themselves. So I can try and explain to you what I run. Okay, so now unfortunately you cannot see what I'm doing right now, but I've opened up my monitor settings. I'm going to explain to you what I have adjusted in the picture display. Well, obviously I have 1 millisecond response time. My 1 millisecond motion blur reduction is on. FreeSync is off. Black stabilizer is at 50. Now my brightness is set to 95. My contrast is set to 87. I recently increased the contrast on my monitor settings to 87. It looks beautiful in game. My sharpness is set to 100. This will make sure you see your targets very well, and your response time in effect will increase because you can see your targets they're a bit more clearer, and you can lock onto your target a bit more faster. Okay, so now we're at the adjust desktop size and positioning. For this, I have my scaling set to full screen, perform scaling on display. I have checked override the scaling mode set by games and programs, with my resolution again set at 1440p and my refresh rate ensured that it is set to 144 Hz. My native resolution, which is 1440p. So make sure you have these settings applied. Now there's one other thing to point out. In your NVIDIA Shadow Play settings, some people like to turn off in-game overlay to off. This can ensure that your bullets are actually hitting the enemy target. I know in some cases people get massive FPS decline by having in-game overlay turned on. So there is an option to you available where you can turn this off. If you don't record YouTube videos or record clips, definitely turn the in-game overlay for NVIDIA Shadow Play to off. You might see better performance. Okay, so now I guess you're interested in seeing my in-game graphical settings. So for my video settings, I have window full screen. This is so I can alt-tab out of the game without the whole application like black screening or completely closing down before I alt-tab into the next display. So having windowed full screen is useful in Destiny because it just helps alt-tab and multitask a bit easier. Your cursor will instantly be able to freely move onto your secondary monitor, which for me, I prefer. If you run full screen, for example, I think you can get a little bit better performance or lesser input lag, but I've never noticed the difference personally. So I've always run windowed full screen. My resolution is set to 1440p, my VSync is turned off, you don't want that on. My frame rate cap is disabled at the time being, but if I want to cap this, I have my frame set to 60 when capped. My field of view is 105, I like seeing more spatial awareness around me, peripheral vision and stuff like that. In a game like Destiny, it's good for like fast movement, detecting enemies quicker, things like that. My brightness, I like to have it maximum possible, just for better clarity, I guess, in seeing enemies. Okay, so now for my advanced video settings. So I have anti-aliasing off, screen space ambient occlusion off, texture anisotropy off, texture quality lowest, shadow quality lowest, depth of field off, environment detail distance low, character detail distance low, foliage detail distance low, foliage shadow distance medium, that's the lowest option possible, light shafts medium, motion blur off, wind impulse off, render resolution 100. You can lower this if you want to try and get better FPS, it's up to you. I don't really notice a difference too much, but sometimes I have played around with it. HDR off, chromatic aberration off, film grain off, NVIDIA reflex off. This will ensure to you that you get the maximum FPS performance possible, and because I run 1440p already, I mean the game already looks generally quite good, so just having everything lowest setting possible will ensure just better performance, better FPS. And having high FPS in a game like Destiny definitely can give you an upper advantage, especially in PvP or speedrunning, moving fast, just things of this nature. You want to have an edge or an upper advantage. FPS is key. But yeah guys, this pretty much wraps up the video. I just wanted to show you guys my NVIDIA control panel settings and my in-game settings and things like this. And I do hope you notice a difference yourselves. Now I've tried outsourcing a lot of this information to make sure what I'm preaching basically is accurate or does indeed help. I do believe a lot of what I've shown you guys is sound advice. I've used references such as PUBG Professionals, various other YouTube videos, and I do believe the settings I've shown are pretty much good, even anecdotally speaking. I have tried these settings for a couple weeks now, and the game does feel slightly better. Even changing my monitor settings themselves, like the contrast up to 87, the game just looks so much better. Anyway, leave your thoughts below in the comments if you did try this and you noticed an improvement. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Enjoy.